Travis and Matthew. She needs to get down one. Well, Matthew can sit there and be used. You can go to gift you want to.
Well, you probably want to keep your distance. You're fine. I'm not going to tell you to gather up together. But sorry. That's what I'm used to. Okay.
Hello, everybody. I'm Eric Boland. I have to tell you right off the bat, I am not a preacher. I am a friend of Justin's, a principal at the school that he was at a number of years ago. But also a friend of Tammy's and the families, having got to know them over the years. So bear with me, because this is not something I do. But I couldn't turn down the opportunity to do it because of what Justin meant to me personally. So if I break up during this, you'll know, hey, you got my back, you're friends too, because our Justin has my back. So I will get through this, might take a little bit. But before we start, let's start here with a prayer. To begin, I am a Christian, and I believe he's in a better place. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day, the opportunity as friends to gather here and celebrate the life of Justin. We know it's a trying time for the family, but ironically, it's a trying time for our country as well. And Justin's a perfect example of how to handle trying times. We want to thank you for his life and the blessing of his life, the blessing that he had on each and every one of us who got to know him, and the opportunity to know him made us better people. We ask that you be with the family and friends and loved ones during this time and comfort them as only you can. We ask this prayer in Jesus' precious name. Amen. I'd like to go ahead and begin by reading the obituary, because it encapsulates, obviously, Justin's life. Justin Casey Huff, 32, lifetime Morgan County resident, passed peacefully during his sleep with loved ones by his side on Thursday, March 19, 2020, at his residence. Justin was born December 5, 1987, in Martinsville to Patrick David Huff and Tammy D. Burpo Huff. Justin was disabled his entire life, and his family was blessed with his life and love for 32 years, considering his life expectancy was to be brief after his birth. He filled many hearts with joy and happiness over the years with his love for policemen, firemen, and cool trucks. He was an honorary member of Star Wars Indiana, official Ghostbuster. He had a love for The Walking Dead, Paragon Speedway, NASCAR, and go-kart racing, Larry the Cable Guy, and Dog the Bounty Hunter. He leaves behind his loving family, including his mother, Tammy D. Huff of Martinsville, father, Patrick David Huff, his wife, Lisa of Frankfurt, brothers, Travis, Brandon Huff of Martinsville, and Matthew David Burpo, wife, Melanie of Paragon, grandmother, Judy Burpo of Paragon, grandparents, Charlie and Sue Huff of Martinsville, and several nieces, nephews, aunts, and uncles. He was preceded in death by his grandfather, Larry Burpo. It's kind of appropriate that we're here today to honor his life during a time in the country and the world that we're dealing with coronavirus. And it's got people nervous and scared. Justin is an example we can really look to on how to handle obstacles and how to handle being scared. Because of the life he led, he overcame a lot. And I think that's a perfect example. And I'd like to read this poem. Many of you probably have heard it before at funerals, but it's one of my favorite. And I shared it with students whenever we talk at school. And It's called The Dash by Linda Ellis. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that they spent alive on earth, and now only those who love them know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to anger, and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect, and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? I think that fits with Justin. You talk about a young man that spent his dash and touched people and taught people. I'm in the education world, and Justin taught me more than I could ever have taught him. And you know, I think about where we're at right now. Justin is practicing the ultimate social distance from us. You know, if you really think about it. But we also know we're in the arms of God right now. We are social distancing from him, and someday they'll read our dash and tell about it. So here he is spending it with us. And you know, he's one of those young men that made me feel better just by seeing it. You know, one of those things, I'll share a couple of thoughts. Being in the high school, you deal with kids every day, but some of them just made you feel better and made you a better person. Justin was one of those. If I had a bad day, if I ever saw Justin in the hallway, I was going to have a better day. Usually because I was going to have to be jumping out of the way of his wheelchair. Because Justin had a knack, and it's really hard for me, honestly, to sit here and call him Justin, because I've called him Gordon for over 20 years. Because he always had on his chair number 24, and he was a big fan of Jeff Gordon, and so was I. So I called him Gordon. So since the late 90s till just a few weeks back, it was Gordon. So to use the word or the name Justin is different for me. But I would see Gordon in the hall, and he would be coming down. Usually he had a peer mentor with him, and it was usually a cute girl. And she would be driving his chair. I don't know, Jeff. He could drive his own chair, but he liked having the cute girl drive his chair. And then he'd see me, and he would take over control of his chair, and he would come at me, and he would often hit the line and hit the wall with his chair. And I would always yell out to him, Gordon, you're going to scrub off speed. You can't go as fast if you hit the wall. Gordon doesn't hit the wall. And he would cackle and laugh and throw that head back. You know, for somebody that wasn't communicative like we normally think normal is, we call it normal, he could be more expressive and communicate in more ways with his eyes and his expressions than anybody I've ever come in contact with. And he would just throw that head back and laugh and just continue on. Mr. Heacock and I had a great time. He was a co-worker of mine. We had a great time. Well, I think we tormented Justin as much as he tormented us. And it was a special time for us. Always during Justin's birthday, Rick wanted to take that paddle. We'd go down and find Justin wherever he was. And it'd be, okay, Justin, it's your birthday. How old are you now? We got that many whacks coming. And he would just laugh and throw his head back, and he would communicate. And it was a special time to be with him. You could not be around him and not feel better. And here's a young man that early in his life, I think Tammy-It shared with me, at 3 weeks old, he had a heart condition right away, cardiac arrest. And he was cold blue several times during his first year. he wasn't, the doctors aren't giving him a good prognosis. He overcame that. And then by the age of 10, surgery for his heart, and he ended up with 3 surgeries. Prognosis wasn't very good. The disease he was identified to have had, DiGeorge, I think is how it's pronounced, 4 to 6 years life expectancy during that time. It's increased now since, but I think he passed that. He was a true warrior in any sense of the word. So what an example for us as we stand here today and we're scared, the world's scared. Look to somebody like Justin, what he did. I guarantee he was scared, but what a hero to overcome that fear and do it and make others feel better. That's the power I feel Justin's life gives to each of us. Wow, what an example. And I could go through a list of some things, but conventions changed his life, and it changed his family's life, and I think it changed the lives of the people who were at conventions with him. And we have somebody that wanted to share some thoughts from some of those days with the convention. Mr. Todd.
Hi folks, my name is Michael Todd. I'm part of the convention family. Some of you may have heard the term referring to Justin from UCA's convention. A passion of his, a passion of ours. I'm normally the Jurassic Park man, so if you've ever seen pictures of Justin with the guy from Jurassic Park, that would be me. Tammy asked me to say a few words on behalf of the convention family to talk about Justin. We would be out here for years for me to share you some of the stories and beautiful testaments of what this young warrior, this amazing angel among us. Again, forgive me. This is very hard for the convention family. He has his family, his friends here. What some of you who have never been to a convention or seen Justin firsthand, what you may not realize is around this country, around this world, tens of thousands of people were affected by my friend. To the family, to Tammy, to Michael, to Travis, to Matthew, Travis, we are so sorry from your convention family. He was part of our family. You are part of our family. Justin was a big fan of a little-known television show called The Walking Dead. And I don't think Justin really realized how much he was part of that show. He was affected by the actors, the people of the show, the cast of The Walking Dead have taken him in as part of their own family. Especially a very few close friends, Michael Cutlets, Cooper Andrews, Mike Rooker, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and his very, very special friend, Norman Reedus. They are all devastated. Anyone who's seen social media has seen their loss without Justin. And so I feel bad for them. But driving out here today, I realized as much as I feel bad for the family and for all of you and all of us, I feel more bad for the people who never knew Justin, who never got to see him or meet him or hug him or be kissed by him and flirted with him, who never got to experience that. When I first met Justin back in 2013, I fell in love. Who doesn't fall in love with Justin? Come on. And I questioned my own faith after that convention. How could such a beautiful spirit be cursed with so many ailments and things like that? And I was angry with the man upstairs for that. But as I learned more about Justin and got to know Justin, Justin was the one blessed by it. God himself sent Justin down for us, for all of us here, for all of us in the convention family. Just like The Walking Dead and the infection of the zombies, and just like the world we're in now with the coronavirus and everyone's dealing with this infection, Justin had his own infection, and he gave it to us. And that is the purest love you will ever know. He didn't look at people for how they were, how they dressed, the color of their skin. He loved everybody. And he has changed the lives of tens of thousands of people, myself included. So on behalf of your entire family of convention lovers, and thank you. Thank you so much for opening your lives and giving us your Justin. So we thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Todd. It's hard to follow that up. It really is. But you know, he was one of those young men that touched everybody he came in contact with in a special way in their heart. He made everybody, I think, better people. And a friend of mine over the years got to know a guy by the name of Brett Eastburn. Brett Eastburn was born with no arms and no legs. And he wrote a book years ago called No Arms, No Legs, No Handicaps. And he would go on a speaking tour and speak at schools. And that's how I got to know Brett. From 2006 till today, I've had Brett come in and speak to the student body and talk to them about his life and his experiences. And one thing he closed on at the end of every speak and motivational talk with the students was, I thank God I was born this way, because I think I was born this way to be an example, to let you know that you can. You should never use the phrase, I can't, with the gifts that you've been given. So he said, I wouldn't change anything. I was born this way for a reason. I think Justin was born this way for a reason. To be an inspiration, to be an example, and to show that pure love that we all should mirror and emulate. And I think that's why he was here. And, you know, I can't miss a few other little thoughts with Justin to follow up on the convention part and the social media component. You know, Justin's one of those that he did have a, shall we say, an ornery side to him. The chuckles of everybody knows him. So Tammy reminded me of one of those moments that I just have to share with friends, because this is our time together. Because I want us to leave here knowing that this is a celebration of the young man who was special. Well, he pulled a special moment on us at the school by pulling the fire alarm after school was out one day, and it was just to test our response time. And I don't know if he wanted the fire truck to come so he can see it. And it's appropriate the firemen are here today. So, you know, we didn't arrest him, but we threatened to for a false alarm. But he thought that was just hilarious. He was that type of individual, that type of person. The conventions, you know, he had Tammy had told me that early in 2012, when the arteries around his lungs and in his lungs burst, and it was a dire time. And he, you know, here he overcome that. And the doctor didn't think he would pull through, but he overcome that. This is that theme of warriorism with his. He overcome that, so then he goes to a convention. So he starts his whole convention life and changes the life of the people who are there more than just his own. And I think it obviously, Tammy, you and the family, your lives were changed. Tammy shared that she never knew where she was, that she would go on this ride with Justin when he was born. To go this far and to go through all the wonderful events and places that she and her family was able to experience because of Justin. And I just think that to me is just, it's moving and inspirational. We have a lady, Pollyanna McIntosh, who's in the Walking Dead series. She's Anne. She tweeted on a post, Justin had taught her to be brave, taught her to communicate with people who we see maybe is a little different and trapped in their own bodies on being able to communicate with us. And it taught her how to be more empathetic and to be more caring. And I thought, what a powerful message, because I lived that too. He taught me how to be more empathetic and better. And I thought that was a wonderful post that she put out there. I think that's comforting. You know, we're in the coronavirus, and we keep mentioning that, but Tammy had shared with me that she thinks God took him now so he wouldn't have to experience all this. He went through enough, you know. So timing, it's always painful, but maybe it's a blessing. He was a warrior that fought his fight. And I think we can be comforted by the word of God here, where in 2 Corinthians 1, 3 through 5, it states, "Praise be to God and the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us all in all of our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. For just as we share abundantly in the sufferings of Christ, so also our comfort abounds through Christ." I think we can find comfort in that. We're finding comfort around each other, even though we're having this social distance. Being here, sharing stories, doing this type of thing on social media or however, we're able to communicate and connect still as social beings that God created. And I think that's really, really powerful. I think we can also find comfort in a truth that was posted on social media again by Cooper Andrews. He's Jerry on The Walking Dead. And Justin, from what I understand, met Cooper at a convention, and he wanted Cooper to be his wingman in flirting with a pretty blonde in the booth next to Cooper's booth. And he was recruiting Cooper to get the young lady's attention to be his wingman. Well, boy, does that ever sound like Justin, right? Well, Cooper went on and he stated in his post that Justin is now our wingman, and how appropriate that is for us, how comforting that is for us. Tammy shared that she started watching the Wonderful Life movie a few years back, and the part where it says, every time a bell rings, an angel, it gets its wings. Well, our warrior is no longer a warrior here. He's an angel. He has gotten his wings. He is now our ultimate wingman. And I think right now is an appropriate time for us to get our bells and ring our bells for our wingman, because the angel has gotten his wings. I'll never listen to bells in the same way without turning and looking behind my back to see if I'm going to get run over by a wolf. I will tell you that. It's like my new horn is the new bell. But, you know, God bless Justin. God bless the family. I appreciate the honor of being able to talk here just for a few moments and share from course. And I know there may be some of you that might have something you want to say. If you do, now would be a good time to share it with the family. If anybody does. And I know that there will be a celebration of life in the near future once we get some direction and some guidance and protocols as things evolve and change. But know this, God's the God of comfort. He's going to comfort the family. He's going to comfort each of us. So now we have the wingman there with us. So God bless each of you. Thank you for being here for the family today.
Folks, there is a register book if you don't mind handling all the handling of things, but if you would go ahead and sign your name if you don't mind. That way you'll have a pretty good idea of who to see. Thank you. I know, it's good to watch him shaking like a leaf. He didn't have enough meat on his bones. Yeah, what can I tell you? It is cold. It's chilly.
Oh yeah.
You
Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
well, you need to eat more Scooby snacks.
Yes.